Simply, you lose space and shit like that. So I called the guy out on it. We had words. We're almost nose to nose. Finally, he leaves. And Norman goes, nice fucking going this time. I go, why? He goes, you got out of jail a week ago for manslaughter. I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? So I'm like, all right, worst case scenario, he kills me. I can live with that. So he comes in the store. He walks in my department. I walk up to him. I go, we can go one of two ways, bro. We can go outside and beat the shit out of each other, or I can show you how to make money. He goes, you can show me how to make money. I go, I can show you how to make money. And I showed him some of the tricks I used to use. And he became a nice guy, and he's one of the few people that bought me a bottle for Christmas. Even though it was a little airline fucker, he at least had the thought was there. Yeah, it was all right.
It would have been cheaper to buy you a pint.
Yeah.
Hey, when you were a young guy, you used to work at an auto repair store on 9th Avenue.
I got sent there.
Yeah.
There was a big, what happened was, that's a real bone of contention, too. Like, this guy was a douche. I was working for this outfit called Sunrise Texaco, and if you ever go back into time and look up Sunrise Texaco, that was the site of one of the biggest weapons busts in the history of New Jersey. But I was there way after that. But I actually met the guy who got busted. He was an ex-Marine. And was one, you know how they distort everything in the news? You know, they play games and stuff like that? He was selling his gun collection only because he was shooting a mortar off in his backyard. Is that so bad? His wife got pissed. But in selling the gun collection, one of those scumbags I was talking about got wind of it, turned him into the feds, and he got busted. But anyway, I was working for this other guy named Charlie, and Charlie was a good mechanic, but he was also an alcoholic. So these guys would show up to work drunk and shit, and I was wearing out my welcome after a year because they were just doing a bunch of, dishonest, illegal shit. I lived in that town, and I didn't want to deal with people, that he was fucking. So he had a guy named Phil, and he decided to farm me out to this guy, Phil, on 9th Avenue. It was like almost a taxi repair, people coming in with flat tires and stuff. Well, Phil was the worst of the worst because he kept me over there so long, I missed my bus back, and I had to sleep over there. So finally I said, you're paying my way back and forth. No, you're not. You're fucked because you can't go back to Sunrise because I'll get you fired. So I'm like, okay. He used to rent out the lot to hookers so they could turn tricks in the cars that he was working on. That's how lovely he was. And, so if somebody came in with, a bad battery or something like that. Oh, let's say a kid would come in and something flew up and bent the linkage. He'd sell them a transmission. He just dropped the transmission, spray painted blue, put it back up, adjust the linkage, and that was it, and charged the guy. So I really got sick of dealing with this shit. So one day, I see this car in there, and I'm looking at the bill, and I'm like, holy shit, did he ream this guy? Then I look at the guy's name, Nino Valdez. That's the name of the bartender I know at Club 44, one of my regular hangouts. So I'm like, after work, I go to see Nino, and I go, you have your car worked on the other day? And he goes, yeah, why? And I go, I proceeded to tell him how badly he got fucked. And he just very politely thanked me. And when I went back to work the next day, the place was padlocked by the state because it wound up that his cousin worked for somebody who was in power, and they just locked, just closed the place, tons of violations. So I went back to Sunrise, and they fired me 2 weeks later. So that was it.
I'm going to jump back in time a little bit here. I don't know how many people we got here are old like me and Pete, but in the 70s we had like the plethora of, we've talked hookers, we've talked 42nd Street, but what about some of the odder drugs that showed up in the 70s? Like for me, Quaaludes was one. I wound up doing 6 hours of walking zombie like around my buddy's house one time on Quaaludes, and people slipping you angel dust was the other thing that just
that was a big
fucked me up. But other than those two, I kind of veered away from it. My dad was actually a cop, so he'd come home and my dad would get drunk and tackle my ass because I'm big, and like drugs would fall out of my pocket, and my mom would kick him under the couch and give him back to me the next day. It's like, thanks, Mom. Well, your dad will kick your ass if he finds them on you. But so those were a couple of the strangest ones I was ever slipped. But what about you?
I'll tell you how to make a fortune on 99 cents a bottle.
And how bad is it that two guys are up here admitting to a room full of strangers the shit we did when we were kids?
Hey, I'm proud of it.
I lived through it.
I never really did the plethora of drugs. I always stuck to weed, alcohol, because every time I veered from there, I just didn't do them right, and things happened. So I just got turned off to that at an early age. But going back to that idiot Big Al, he made a ton of money off 99 cents a bottle aspirin because, remember White Crosses? Dexedrines? He would take a hacksaw blade and carve a cross in them and sell them to these rich assholes in South Orange for like whatever it was going for, I don't even know. And then he was messing around. He was selling them fake LSD because he got sugar cubes and somehow stained them and convinced them the stain was LSD. And they were getting off on the shit. And he finally got arrested. And the only thing they could get him on was misrepresentation of product or some shit.
Yeah, he was selling fake shit.
Oh yeah, he'd sell oregano with caraway season and tell you it was pot.
What about the fake cocaine that they had TV ads for back on the public access shows?
I know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Really only
that was caffeine.
Show, yeah,
Right. But
caffeine. Yeah, they used to sell the fake pills in the back of the magazines. Woolworths was caffeine, Black Beauty's caffeine, Ross is caffeine, all shit.
Yeah, you didn't see any real good speed. It was from 1980 on, to be honest with you. Before 1980, we stole it from everybody's mom. Everybody's mom was on speed in the 70s. It was so fucking awesome, man. I'm just speaking from me. We just rifle through mom's medicine chest and going, holy shit! Just dump a pocket full. Because like that Rolling Stone song is true. Mother's Little Helper. They all fucking had him. It was a beautiful thing.
I'll tell you a good PCP story.
There is no such thing as a good PCP story.
This is how fucked up people
I have good blotter acid stories, but no good PCP stories.
I used to know this guy. His name was Charlie Sabatini. We called him Sabu. Sabu was about 350 pounds. And when I first moved into this town, I'm pumping gas at night. This white Mustang pulls up and he goes, "Oh, you're new here? I sell pot." Pops this trunk. He goes, "We got Jamaican, we got Mexican, we got Panama Red." I go, "I'm going to like it here." So he was also doing a lot of other shit, but then he got into angel
Tie
dust.
stick. Remember
tie sticks were great.
Does anybody here remember tie stick?
Tie sticks. Yeah. I lost the whole night on tie sticks.
It was weed dipped in like a little TH opium, and then they wrapped it around a stick because it was so sticky, and you just... Oh, it's a beautiful thing, guys.
All right. So, anyway, this guy Sabu decides to make angel dust. And he gets involved with this other idiot. So, as usual, there's a falling out over money. So, they were doing it in Sabu's house. This guy goes to a Shell station, which was right around the corner from Sabu's house, gets a gallon of gas, goes over to the house, nails all the doors shut, and is going to burn the house down. He goes back to the station because he forgot to get a book of matches. That's how he got. And they were burning the house down, but that's how fucked up these people were. He's going to burn the house down with him in it. These guys were crazy.
That's a PCP story there, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Pete, we got to space them out. You have another hooker story? You said you'd have an infinite number.
All right. I'm going to give you the ultimate fucking hooker story.
All right.
And for this, I have brought a visual aid.
Yay!
Visual aid.
An old original copy is...
Does anybody know what a bachelor party is?
Yes.
Everybody knows what. For those who don't know, it's a rite of passage that went hardly along when I did one, but that's beside the point. That, you know, guys get married and they hire hookers to service him and the best man, then everybody else pays, they get drunk and shit like that. Problem with that is sometimes these parties get way out of hand. Either the girls show up comatosely drunk or stoned, or there's way more guys than they can handle, and it gets ugly. So now it's Big Al's turn to put on a bachelor party. And Big Al's bragging he knows chicks, but he don't. He comes to me. "You need to make some calls for me." "No, I don't." He goes, "Well, give me some numbers. I got to do this or I'll lose space." I'm like, all right. I go home. I left my book home. Let me go home. I go home. Before I give him the numbers, I call all these girls and say, "Do not do anything with him. He's nuts." So I kill this. So I give him the book. I'm working in the station. He's fuming because everybody's turning him down. Then he goes, "I'm going in the crapper and smoke a joint. I don't know what I'm going to do." We used to leave these in the crapper because that's what you read in the crapper. Now, he comes charging out, "I'm saved, I'm saved." He runs over to a payphone, starts dialing this thing, but he only has one page in his hand. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
Pull the page out of the back of the strip.
So he comes back over, he goes, "Fuck you, I got a girl, I'm going to be it tonight." He drops the page there. He had circled something. Now, I'm going to hold this up, see if you can see this.
My question is, was it really a girl? I think I know where this is leading.
You know where this is going. You know where this is going. Notice the headlines on this say TV guide that has nothing to do with television because these are transsexual hookers. Right?
TV.
He didn't see the top of the page. He's got this blonde circled in there. I'm like, should I say something?
It says 38, 24, 38, and 9 inches uncut.
You don't want to call it what you love. He didn't see it. So I'm sitting there going, should I say something? I'm like, no, this is just too fucking sweet. So I make it a point to come to the party, but